True masculinity is good for your health. This is more needed today than I would ever have imagined. The family is falling apart in our world because of the lack of true masculinity, aka strong husbands, strong fathers, strong men. Now, this is not masculinity as the likes of Andrew Tate and others may embrace. Though I do agree with some of the things he says, but I'm not a fan of his for many reasons, which I won't take the time to get into here. But I know this, you can disagree with someone on some issues as you may disagree with me on some issues as I will mention in this episode or this video, while disagreeing with them on others, right? So we can agree and disagree, but it doesn't mean that because I don't see things the way you see things or the Andrew Tates of this world see things means that I don't agree with certain parts of what they might say, right? I posted something on social media about this idea of how I said weak men create harder times. And I say strong men create easier times. And someone immediately took me on and said, in the response, wanted to be a bit, I would say, sarcastic or trying to invalidate what I've just said. And they posted this thought saying, strong men with hate in their heart cause severe damage across the ages. Now, I said, well, my response to that was this: those are weak men. Strong men, as I define it, do the opposite, because it requires some things, as you'll hear in this video, what true masculinity that some may see as strong men or strong husbands, that what it means is something quite different. And that's what we're going to get into in this video. So today we're tackling a very powerful topic. And this topic is about unveiling true masculinity in the context of marriage. Now, forget the stereotypes that's been portrayed on us. And what we're going to do in this video is rewrite the narrative of true masculinity. Now, what we see parading around us today and being promoted as what masculinity should look like, both from the left and the right, if you want to be political, is missing a point of true masculinity. And I'm sure you probably would agree with that as well, right? So today we are on a mission to change this left-right ideology about true masculinity. Now, I understand in that one of the things that you, like myself, struggles with or have challenges with is juggling our faith and our family, our business, our career, and trying to find a balance, right? And that can feel like a constant tightrope walk. And why? Because it has in it the fear of neglecting our loved ones, our wife, our children, right? Because the idea of pursuing success and it constantly looming, and we're going after that, and the busyness of our lives can jeopardize that very important or those very important relationships, wouldn't you say? So this might be from the pressure of someone's expectation. I know for me, looming over my head is this idea of what it means to provide for my family and be there to offer them financial security, right? So it's faith and family, but also financial security. And so there is this drive within me as a man, as a husband, as a father, but as someone who is from a culture that values hard work and pursuing success, right? Whatever that might mean for you. So it might be that the expectation of what it means to be pursuing for being a provider and a protector of your family may be what gets in the way. But what if true masculinity meant something different, something stronger, something more fulfilling and more impactful? What if it meant that? Well, here's what I know. True masculinity elicits respect. Remember the J-Lo situation with Ben Affleck. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, there'll be a link in the description below that will access that 20-second video, right? And you want to watch that if you haven't already done so. This video wasn't a masterclass in respect, and I'll circle back to that in a few moments. But I also said, as I said, true masculinity attracts respect. Now, here is what also true masculinity, as I'm describing it, what it means, and that is, it's about being a man of integrity, a man who is willing to be vulnerable. It's about a man who is willing to pursue emotional intelligence, because these are traits that doesn't come naturally for us as men. And if you're watching this and you're a man, you probably would say that's true, right? And if you are a wife watching this, you would say, yeah, that's true about my husband as well. But it's about being a leader, but also a partner. It's about being a shoulder to lean on. It's about being a hand that someone can hold and feel as if they can genuinely do so in a secure manner. So in continuing this idea of true masculinity, so it's about strength, right? Yes, but not just physical. It does have that implied. It's about emotional intelligence, I mentioned. It's about the courage to be vulnerable, I mentioned that. And the willingness to share the load with your wife, right? It's about being able to step inside and be that partner for your wife, that she can depend on you. And not because it's a role idea that, we as men don't do those things. Come on, that's traditional, old school. I believe true masculinity is one where you're willing to step up and join with your wife to make things happen. It's about being a protector, not just from physical threats, but from emotional distress and negativity. It's about leadership, but not the one that some people think about, where it's dominance, right? But it's about guidance and support and shared decision making, as I've spoken about in a past video as well. Remember, the person that we emulate most, and you've heard me said and still will say, is Jesus. Jesus embodied what I would say is true masculinity. So if you want to know what true masculinity looks like, looks at just you can't go further than Jesus himself, because he embodied what I'm describing here: compassion, humility, and service. This is a very important aspect. I was in church recently, and the pastor was reminding us about what Jesus did. Jesus came from heaven, and he clothed himself like a man. So he left heaven and came to earth. That is incredible humility, because he gave up whatever, all that it meant to be God and to be worshiped as God. And he came in the form of a servant, a man, and he didn't come to be served. He came to serve. That is what true masculinity, as I'm describing it, what it looks like, right? Because none of the traits that Jesus emulates would ever be described as unmasculine. If it is, it's people who don't have an understanding of Jesus, really. They don't have an idea who he really is and was, and need to go back who he actually is, because he's still around, he's still alive, and still being in that position of God. So they need to learn more about him. So when you're able to have true masculinity or demonstrate true masculinity this way, it's not hard for your wife and children to want to respect you in the way that you need from them. I was speaking to someone recently in one of my sessions, and I shared with this young man, I said, maybe the reason why you feel disrespected by your wife is that the way you're coming across, the way that you may have learned what true masculinity is, or true husband or man should be, is what offends your wife. It gets in the way because she may hear it as a domineering, controlling person. And I'm so thankful that this young man agreed that he has been that way, and he could see how that may interfere with his wife respecting him the way that he wants to be respected. So when we are practicing true masculinity, as I'm describing it here, it's not hard. for your wife to want to be able to submit to that and to respect you in this manner. Now, let me just quickly kind of revert back, as I mentioned earlier, to circle back to the Ben. Now, if you've not seen the viral video, like I mentioned, you'll find the link in the description below where you can actually go and access that. But in many of the comments when on that video that's gone viral, as of this recording, almost 275,000 views and counting. It was one where many of the comments talked about him being emasculated and disrespected and embarrassed by his wife, Jennifer Lopez, because her behavior came across that way. The body language and what seemed to be a moment of reprimanding, like she's reprimanding him like a parent would to a child. And people have also commented that about that as well. And that's a moment where the comments came in mostly when they looked at that and said, man, she is really giving it to him. She is really telling him what time it is. Those kind of comments that people would, mention. And I can see why and you'll see when you watch a video why I'm saying that, why people would come to that, conclusion. And maybe I would love to hear what your conclusion is. As when you've watched it, I'd like for you to come back and comment below what it is your thoughts are on what the video that you have watched, that I will have the link. It will also find it, it'll be shown on the screen as well. But I would love for you to get involved in this conversation and let me hear what your thoughts are about this. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel, because that is one way to also be notified when I post videos like that as well. Now, we don't know for sure what went on, but what we do know is that when the cameras was on Jennifer Lopez, on her, she started smiling and trying to play it off like nothing really happened because she got caught, right? And you will see that so my question is, when will these people learn that the camera is on them 24/7 and not much gets by the media? Now, I know we could argue it shouldn't be that way, but that's what it is. It is what it is. And they've got to learn that that's one of the things, the consequence, or one of the things that goes along with being a celebrity in the media's eyes, right? So how do we translate true masculinity into real life marriage? Now, here are some practical tips that I want to leave with you. Embrace open communication. Means talk openly and honestly with your wife about your feelings. That's about being vulnerable, about your joys, your struggles. Vulnerability is a power move for true masculinity, not a weakness. It is a power move. And that's why my comment to the person on social media was, the way I describe true masculinity or strong men is not one where you're doing damage to people. That's not true strong men. That's weak men, right? Because it requires certain restraint. It requires the ability to restrain power under moments like that, right? That's so embrace open communication. Secondly, practice active listening. Truly hear and listen to your wife and your children. Understand her perspective and their perspective. Acknowledge her needs and your children's needs as well, right? So here's what happened. It's not about trying to be the dominant voice and winning an argument. It's about coming together as partners, as you would do building a team. Number 3, share the responsibilities. I cannot tell you how often, for myself and my wife, I've been married now 38 years as of this recording. And I find it to be so natural and normal to want to assist. If my wife cooks, why wouldn't I want to wash the dishes and put those away? If she is washing clothes, or I'm washing clothes, why can't I put the clothes in the dryer, the dishes in the dishwasher? Why can't I help take the clothes out and dry that? It's not that I have 2 hands. I know how to do those things. Why can't I? So I share the responsibilities. And sometimes I'm outside. She'll come outside and she'll also help me and share in the responsibilities that we have just, kind of went into our own corners. No one have to say, you do this, you do that. No, we recognize what our roles are and we step into those roles, but then we come alongside and help each other out. Remember, it's a partnership. It's all about partnership. And true masculinity recognizes this. Number 4, cultivate respect always. And that's why I mentioned in that video, J-Lo came across as not respecting Ben Affleck. And this reason why his face, he had that look on his face, right? So you want to cultivate respect. Remember, it's not just about your opinion. It's not just about what you think. So respect your wife's opinions. Remember, God says he gave your wife to you as a helpmeet, someone who come alongside and help you become the successful person you ought to be. So respect her her opinions, and not dismiss and ignore her decisions, right? Because you're kind of co-creating these things together. Respect her dreams and help to encourage that and support that and cheerlead those things. Never belittle her, especially in public at all, period, but especially in public. Don't make her feel a certain way, embarrassed, or and vice versa. I mean, I mentioned that in my past video about wives not to treat your husband that way, and that's one thing he will really, really, I mean, feel like he's a little this big, and feel emasculated when you do that publicly or privately, but especially publicly, right? So these four things I think is so important, and that is to embrace open communication, practice active listening, share responsibilities, and cultivate respect always. Now, as you embrace this idea of true masculinity, remember that this potential of being a true masculine person, a true masculine husband is within you. So I want you to make the decision to embrace vulnerability, right? Communication and respect. Break free from everything you've already thought about as true masculinity, as this person thought I was referring to, and begin to navigate the areas of conflict with grace and humility, and learn how to empower your wife as God has called you to. Remember, a strong marriage is built on partnership, love, and shared commitment to growth, right? So I want you to really go out there and be the most the best husband, but the most masculine husband as I've described it here in this video. Because when you do so, you're not only building a stronger, happier marriage, but you're also becoming a more legacy building, a more significant, a father, a husband of significance, of impact, and of legacy, right? That is what you're after, and this is a path towards that. Remember, strength comes in many forms, and true masculinity, it lies in the courage to be your best self, for yourself, for your wife, your family. I would love to hear your thoughts on this video on true masculinity. So leave your comments below. What's your thoughts on that? How do you see that? Would there be anything you would add to what I've just said? So share your insights and your experiences, and let this keep this conversation going, and to empower each other. And let's join this mission of strong husbands connecting. Strong husbands connecting. Now, if you would like what you've heard, if you like what you've heard today, would you take a moment to subscribe and like this video? I would truly appreciate that so very much. And remember, share this video with one other person, and make sure you watch the video that I mentioned earlier. With that said, my friend, I look forward to seeing you on the next video. May God bless you as you watch what the recommendation of the next video to watch. Make sure you watch that as well. Thank you, and God bless you.